Alright, guys, I'm back looking to continue the conversation I've been having. And this last one for how I love those in my immediate circle is probably one of the most difficult of all for me to address, and that's how to love yourself in a healthy manner. I'd like to think that I've executed, at least on the outside, so those looking uh, in a manner that people would think that I align with the healthy uh, self love. And I gotta be honest, that has definitely not always been the case. I would still say I struggle with it quite a bit. The problem is I've always led a pretty healthy life as far as taking care of my body and doing the right thing, but it was almost never motivated the way it should be. Um, I know that in pursuing a healthier lifestyle and wanting to get stronger, wanting to get smarter, or any search for wisdom or truth or getting closer with God, all those things are done in a really positive light. And as far as my service to God and wanting to pursue Him more, I know that I've really been doing my best efforts to do that in a positive light. But when it comes to taking care of the temple that He's given us, uh, I definitely haven't always been motivated positively uh, in that pursuit. I know that in my youth, I really, really struggled with positive motivations to get stronger and to get smarter. A lot of it came from a lot of self hate and a lot of self loathing. I didn't get stronger because I loved what strength could do for me or how it could better serve others. I hated weakness. I I was bullied a lot when I was younger, high school and stuff like that. I was pretty small. I was always about a year or so younger than all my classmates because of just where my birthday falls in. I was one of those kids that was on one side of the spectrum or the other, and I just happened to be. I graduated high school at 17, so a lot of times I was significantly undermatured compared to a lot of my peers, and so I got taken advantage of a lot. I got picked on by people who I don't know if they didn't like me or they didn't like that my dad was a police officer in the schools or all these different things that I don't know why I thought, and I just thought about myself negatively. And it took a long time. I mean, I still struggle with it today. I make jokes about having a dad bod and stuff like that. It is very difficult for me to see the weaknesses in myself and not want to just persecute myself to get rid of them. And it's such a tough balance. I know that this temple that we've been given is a blessing from God. And in so many cases, I've heard so many fantastic sayings that take care of your body because it's the best tool you ever have or the best instrument you'll ever have. And they're so right. But doing it with the right perspective is just as important. Doing things out of love for others, doing things out of love to want to glorify God is so important because when you do things out of hate and when you do things out of frustration, you're only going to get more hate and more frustration. There's been times to where I felt like I was getting closer to the pinnacle of fitness that my body could get into. Now I was leaner and had that mindset of wanting to be that poster guy or wanting to be on the cover of that magazine, and had the 6 or the 8 pack and was getting super lean and super muscular, and it's never enough. I kept sacrificing more time with my family, and I kept worrying more about my diet, and I kept hyper fixating on things that weren't making me better. They were actually making me worse. And it was super eye opening. And my wife gives me constant reminders. She says, I don't like how she reminds me because she usually says something to the effect of, you're usually a little bit happier and a little bit more fun to be around when you're a little bit fluffier. And while I appreciate that candor and I appreciate that reminder, hearing that, I still struggle to hear that because I still want to be this ultra in shape, ultra fit guy. And yeah, I've had a lot of injuries in my life that have uh, set those goals aside, and I've readjusted things as I'm getting older and a father, and I have kids that are doing sports and want to make sure I'm healthier, and I have a healthier approach and mindset to that, and not wanting to spend hours and hours in the gym every day and refining those things. But a verse that I have here that I really like, that I really think speaks to what I want to try to represent and model as I approach my, getting into my late 30s, transitioning into just a healthier outlook on my own lifestyle and approach to that is right here. I think Ephesians 2, verse 10. We have, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago." That is a tough one for me because He says that we're His masterpiece. I have never looked at myself as that. And I know that we have that because of grace. It's not about what we've done. It's about what He's done and what He's modeled us after. And that's tough. That's tough for me to wrap my head around because there's so many times I get reminded, whether it's by myself or by this circumstance of life, by the people around me, that I'm not a masterpiece, that I'm in need of constant work. But God sees me that way. And man, what is so difficult to train yourself to love with His heart and see with His eyes, because it is so easy to get frustrated with yourself or down at the world, or when you get in positions of power to enact vengeance on those that maybe did you wrong, or all those things. And I gotta be honest, it's super frustrating to find balance in that, because to be looked at as a masterpiece, the older I get and the farther I feel from being a masterpiece, the more humbling that actually is. The fact that anyone could think that anyone is a masterpiece is so tough. But it's so easy for me to see that in others, though. I have been so blessed to have so many fantastic people in my life that, again, I wouldn't say that they're perfect, but man, did God make a masterpiece in so many of the people that are going to watch this video, loved ones on Facebook, and anyone that comes across YouTube. The masterpiece that you are, to be able to refine your own imperfections and pursue God and to love others, that is a masterpiece. There is a book that God is writing, the book of life, that is just so full of nothing but masterpieces that it's crazy to think about. And I spent most of my life frustrated at my imperfections, that I couldn't see the perfect work that He's doing in me. And that's tough. That's something that I'm always going to have to work at. Sometimes I get fixated on what I see in the mirror and not so much on what I'm trying to do on the inside. And I want that to be visible. I want that to be what I'm doing on the inside. I want it to be. I want people to know that, hey, that guy walks with God. And I know that that's not always something that's going to be shown in the weight room. That's something that's a part of the life that I've gravitated towards, and that's not a bad thing. But man, do I need to spend more time with my Bible and more time loving people than I have in the past time that I've spent with the gym. And just continuing to find the right balance in the pursuit of Him and the pursuit of others and self-sacrifice and just all of it. It's tough. It's tough loving yourself and making sure that it doesn't fall into a vanity or an ego or all those other pitfalls that you have into when you start really looking after yourself and caring for yourself. Because we also have these sayings like, oh, hey, what's the best thing for number 2 is to look out for number 1, and you want to have a cup that's overflowing. But you're not the one in charge of filling the cup. Not in the big scheme of things. Like, yeah, there's certain things that you can do for wellness and making sure you're getting your rest and doing that, but we also don't find any rest other than finding it in God. Like, it's so tricky. We come up with all these fun sayings to help us look to execute better, to help us be better versions of ourselves. But it all falls back into scriptures. Hey, you better be looking to glorify God with all you got going on. Because if not, say that your pursuit's going to be in vain. And your cup's not going to get filled. You're going to keep constantly having to fill it and look for other things if you don't have the source filling it up. And so I think with that one, I'm going to stop there. Again, I'm going to try and get a workout. It's Saturday, soccer Saturdays. And I'm going to keep trying to be that masterpiece that God made me to be. And that's tough. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of continued reading. And I'm curious for you guys. What do you guys do? What's something that you guys like to do that helps you feel like you're becoming a better part of yourself? Just curious. Just a question. Just figured I'd open up conversation. I've been doing a lot of talking, haven't asked too many questions. So what do you guys think you're doing that's bettering yourself and you know that it is? Whether that's service to others, whether that's getting yourself in shape, whether that's just anything. How are you bettering yourself? Well, I love you guys. Jesus loves you. And I hope you have a great day. Have a good one.